Welcome to episode 19 of the Rundown Podcast. We will be first introducing Eli.
What's good, everybody?
Noah, what's happening?
What's going on?
And we got Destin.
What's up, Pete? How y'all doing?
And in today's episode, we will be covering week 1 and the matchups that happen in the NFL. Number 2, we're going to discuss we're going to be discussing the top 5 power rankings from the NFC and AFC. Number 3, we'll be talking about our NFL predictions for week 2. And we'll also be discussing and reviewing week 2 performances for college football and what we will be seeing for week 3. So first, guys, let's talk about the Bills and Rams game. What was y'all's first what was y'all thoughts about that game and how it ended up playing out?
Rams are trash.
Yeah, they don't look like the team that won the Super Bowl last year.
Hey, Matthew Stafford's offensive game plan going into that game was Cooper Kupp, second down, check down Darrell Henderson, third down, scramble, fourth down, punt. Every drive, same thing over and over again. And Eli can attest to that because he's got Allen Robinson on his fantasy team. He's probably down bad from that. But I mean, man, the Rams offensively. I mean, the whole team just looked bad because the Bills hung how many points on them?
31.
31 points. 31 points in the defending
more.
Super Bowl champs.
That wasn't even his fault.
Yeah, I mean, 31 points on the defending champs. Not a good look. And the Rams offensively are terrible. I mean, that's what scares me the most about the Rams is just because they were not able to move the ball at all. They couldn't get anything going. Matthew Stafford, he's back to what he was doing late in the year last year. With the 2 or 3 picks a game. So, I mean, it's just I did not like how the Rams looked. Bills, they're living up to their hype as far as being the Super Bowl favorites. They look really good.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I mean, the biggest thing I had was, like Noah said, the offense from the Rams looked bad. They were anemic. They lost Odell, and I'm telling y'all, Odell has been him, and he made a big difference. They're going to hopefully that Allen Robinson can develop into a viable option for them. Maybe they'll build chemistry later on in the season. And also that O-line was terrible. Von Miller was just killing that left tackle, I think. Whitworth retired, so Von Miller basically took over the game at a certain point when the Bills started playing with that lead. It got really ugly really fast. I think Buffalo, out of week 1, on my end, I feel like they're the best team in the league right now, and I feel like they showed that this past Thursday. Josh Allen's going to be coming for the MVP. Diggs is torching Ramsey. I mean, it was ugly. But, yeah, that's main takeaways from that first game on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, when we were all making our picks on last week's episode, I said one thing, one reason why I had the Bills winning was, they were coming in to make a statement, and, they did just that. Rams, I mean, I think Matthew Stafford might be half blind because he was only looking towards Cooper Kupp the whole time. Really, that was the only guy he was eyeing down the whole time. If it wasn't his first read, then he wasn't throwing the ball. He was either going to his first option or taking a sack. So Bills did a great job on both sides of the ball, really. It was a solid performance from Buffalo in week 1.
Yeah, I got to agree with a lot of what y'all said. It's going to be a long year for the Rams if Stafford's just looking towards Kupp. I mean, Kupp's going to do his thing, but you're not going to have the success that they had last year if you're just spamming Cooper Kupp, and Cam Akers was a no-show. I don't think anybody expected him to have 0 fantasy points. That I feel terrible for whoever had them in their starting lineups. He was terrible, so they got to try to figure out the running game. The O-line is not what it was last year without Whitworth. So it's just too many question marks for me. I think the Rams are gonna have a below subpar performance this year because I just don't see the improvements that they had going into last year.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, it's still week 1 too. So, I mean, there's 16 more weeks left in the season. Cam Akers decided to go MIA for some reason. So we'll just have to wait and see with that, I guess.
Yeah, so Noah, you got something else to say?
I was going to say, out of all 4 teams in NFC West, the Seahawks, the only one that got to win week 1. Nobody would have predicted that. Like, come on.
Everybody thinks they're getting the number 1 pick in the draft.
like 49ers lost to the Bears. the Cardinals lost to the Chiefs. I mean, they got routed though. That wasn't even close. And then obviously Rams and Bills. So I mean, the NFC West is down bad right now. Seahawks winning that division week 1.
Facts.
What's the next game?
So guys, let's now get into the Packers and Vikings. What do you guys think? Aaron Rodgers obviously had his new weapons, so-called weapons that he had to try to utilize. We seen some drop passes, which he was complaining about in practices. So what do you guys think about how that game ended up shaking out?
Hey, I mean, I tried to tell y'all about my Vikings, man. I tried to tell y'all I was the only one here that picked the Vikings in that division, and none of y'all thought that, you know, Devontae Adams leaving the Packers was going to be that big of a deal. And you know, you could see it just off the first play of the game. Christian Watson dropping a wide open touchdown pass that would have went for 70 yards, and it was apparent right out the bat that they just don't have reliable weapons as of right now. Now, will those guys develop? We'll have to wait and see, but. Really, offensively, couldn't get anything clicking. Vikings, that offensive coordinator, you know, that came from the Rams, that's now their head coach. It was a night and day difference. They were hitting Jay Jettis all game long, and he was torching that Packers defense. So I was really impressed with what I saw with Minnesota, and you know, that's a strong start to kick off the season.
Yeah, same. I mean, Jettis had a best receiver type performance. I think everyone's expecting to have a big year, and I think he's going to live up to that. Packers, I mean, as a guy who doesn't want to overreact to week 1, you know, the same thing kind of happened to him last year, but they did have Devontae Adams. So I'll be kind of worried if I'm a Green Bay fan or if I'm somebody rooting for that organization. I mean, you don't have much time to get. I mean, it's a long season, but you gotta start winning games. They'll be able to probably beat Chicago Sunday night this coming up, but these guys got to get better. I feel like when Aaron gets behind in games, he doesn't want to take as many chances, kind of what he does in the playoffs. So it's kind of hard for him to come back sometime. But we'll see if they'll be able to flip the script and change it all. If anyone can do it, it is Aaron, but it's going to be tough with the offensive weapons that he has.
Yeah. Eli, you said that the Vikings impressed you. It impressed me as well. I mean, I knew that the Vikings were going to be better this year with the coach they brought in, just because he's a more offensive minded, and the Vikings just have too many weapons to waste on a defensive minded head coach. So I knew the Vikings were going to be better, but they still impressed me. They were better than I thought they would be. Packers. The only reason I stuck with them winning the division is just because they've been running it for so long, and their defense was still stout. You know, they didn't really lose anybody defensively, but that defense looked like a joke against the Vikings. They didn't even have Jair Alexander guarding Justin Jefferson for some reason. Like they had the second year corner Eric Stokes. They had him on Jay Jettas all game for some reason. But what scares me about the Packers is offensively. I mean, we all know they lost Devontae Adams, and we all know that was going to be huge. But we just thought, okay, the Packers just going to have some young receivers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. Like, they'll be all right. But with those receivers, how they looked in that game, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust any of them, that might be a reason why he wasn't taking as many chances, just because he can't trust any of his receivers. I mean, you brought up the deep shot that Christian Watson dropped right in his hands. It would have been a walk-in touchdown. I mean, that's stuff you can't have in the NFL. Like, these are the best of the best. You're going to get them every single week. You can't have that crap in games like that, especially wide open. Aaron Rodgers, out of anybody, he's not going. That's just inexcusable. He's not going to let that happen again.
Yeah, and that was one problem we saw in the playoffs last year too with Aaron Rodgers, was he didn't trust any of his receivers outside of Devontae Adams. So he was just force feeding Adams. And it came a point when, you know, defenses were putting more attention on Adams, and, you know, Rodgers was hesitant to take any chances in the playoffs. And that's why their offense, you know, looked so stagnant against the 49ers when they were favorites to come out of the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta agree with a lot of what you guys said. I think not having Lazard made it even worse than it was going to be anyways. He was projected to be the number one receiver, and obviously he didn't even play in the game. But I still have trust that they're somehow going to win that division. The only problem I have with the Vikings, history-wise, is that they've never shown a level of consistency.
Yeah, especially Kirk.
Play down to their competition, and they tend to be in more close games than they should be. And until they prove me wrong that they can consistently show that they're the better team, in most games they will be. But I just don't. I haven't seen a clear history of them controlling games enough. They play way too many close games, and so I don't trust them fully yet. For winning the division, I still think the Packers defense will have much better days. They won't always be going up against the offense like the Vikings. So I still think the Packers will win the division.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a lot about the Vikings offense, but the Vikings defense looked really, really solid too in that win over the Green Bay Packers. They had a goal line stop early on in the game when it was 7-0. And then throughout the rest of the game, Aaron Rodgers, he looked out of his element. So got to give some props to the Vikings defense as well for that week 1 performance.
For sure. So guys, now we're going to talk about the Chiefs and Cardinals. Obviously, I don't think anybody expected it to be a blowout like it was. So what do you guys have? I mean, it's probably one-sided on this one with, everybody's thoughts on what happened in that one.
2 big things for me in this one was I think the Cardinals are going to be bad this year for the majority of it. And we kind of got a little glimpse into the answer of what the Chiefs would look like without Tyreek. I mean, look like they'll be just fine. And Mahomes is just sharing the ball more. He's just spreading the love out to more of his receivers. I mean, Clyde had 2 touchdowns. Miko got 1 in there. The tight end, Forston, got 1. So they look good. I think the biggest difference is it doesn't have to necessarily be a receiver, but having a number 1 option that's elite, like Kelsey, then I think you'll be okay. That's why I think the Packers can struggle, like we just said earlier. But I think the Cardinals are going to be really bad, and Chiefs are still going to be in control of their division.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs. I mean, I was watching every minute of that game just because I had 2 guys in my fantasy team starting with Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown. But that game was over from the jump. I mean, the Cardinals defense couldn't stop running water, and so I mean, the Chiefs and the Bills look like they're going to be set up to be facing each other again in the playoffs before the AFC Championships because they're probably going to be 1 and 2 seed. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see down the road. But the Chiefs just look like offensively, they look like the best team in the league just because, like you said, Patrick Mahomes is spreading the ball around more. Kelsey's still there. That offensive line is way more improved since what we saw 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. But I mean, Patrick Mahomes, it looks like he's more confident than he ever has been in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like every time he threw a touchdown, he would look at the sideline and be like, that's 1. Then he ended up with 5. So, I mean, it was just that Chiefs offense was just unstoppable, especially against that Cardinals defense. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this game, I mean, Patrick Mahomes having Kelsey as his first option, it kind of reminds me of Brady back in his, Patriots days, back when, he had all those, pretty good receivers, but his go-to option was Gronk. And we saw for years on end, he was still able to, put up record-breaking numbers. So I think Mahomes, in the sense that, of his situation right now, he's in a similar situation that Brady was in some of his days back with the Patriots, how he was favoring Gronk. And I think that's going to be the same case with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. But I was really impressed with what the Chiefs did. They top to bottom, they just ran the Cardinals out the building.
Yeah, I think Mahomes made an early season candidate. He's going for the MVP. I mean, a lot of people was talking about Herbert. Some people talk about Brady, Rodgers, Josh Allen. I didn't hear too many people say Mahomes, and Mahomes definitely had the best week 1. So I expect him to be in the MVP hunt all year long. But I gotta agree with this. I don't think the Cardinals are. I mean, they're a team that usually starts off well, and they'll just kind of just slowly get worse and worse as the season goes on. But I just think it's gonna be a bad year. It already started bad preseason with the whole Kyler Murray contract situation, and if he needed the homework assignments as a part of the contract. So it was already brewing in the wrong spot before the season even started. And now they start off the season, they just nothing looked good. They don't get D-Hop back to mid-season. So I just don't see this team having a good constant flow. And the Chiefs are like they're in mid-season form already. So it's gonna be tough to beat Kansas City for sure.
Yeah, that was one quick thing I wanted to bring up was, they don't even get their wide receiver one back until, a third way through the season too. And he's aging also. So there's a lot of uncertainty around DeAndre Hopkins. And if he still, has that dog in him that he's had, for the past 2 or 3 years, but, just a wait. It's a waiting game. Really. We'll have to wait and see once he comes back.
All right, guys. So now I guess we're gonna cover the Browns and Carolina. This was Baker Mayfield's I guess revenge game. He tried to, with the Panthers. How do you guys feel about that one?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll start this one off. That's another one of those games I was watching every minute of just because Christian McCaffrey is my first pick in this year's fantasy league. But from what I could tell from the jump is the Panthers offensive line was getting brutally assaulted by the Browns defensive line, especially Myles Garrett. I mean, Myles Garrett was getting pressure, if not a sack, every single play. And Baker Mayfield, if people look at his stats in the first half, they kind of write it off. But if you actually watch the game, he could not even get time to even look at his first option, let alone create something out of it. And so that just caused problems for the whole Panthers offense. So they just could not get, they just were steady playing behind the chains, penalty wise with holding calls. And if they didn't hold, it was a sack. It was just play after play. But I will say about mid third quarter and that fourth quarter, Baker found a groove and he started actually balling. The Panthers came back and should have won that game. He gave him the lead with less than a minute left, and Jacoby Brissett dotted the Panthers defense up to get in field goal range, and then the rookie kicker hit the game winner. So, I mean, that was a good game to watch down the wire, but that first half, it was just murder in the trenches.
Yeah, I think for the most part, this game boils down to Myles Garrett just wrecking his matchup. I think the Carolina O-line will be fine because they won't be going up against someone as good as Myles Garrett on a week-to-week basis. But as far as this game, I mean, he completely took over the game. And like you said, Baker didn't have time to do anything. I've been wanting to see Baker lead like a last game-winning type drive, and he was able to do that. But got usurped by Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. So, and then Cade York making a what was it? Was it a 50-yarder or 60-yarder?
It was a 62-yarder.
Yeah. A lot of these games this week been coming down to kickers, and people are like, they hate it because they're like, why did a kicker get to decide the game after all these guys been playing this violent sport? But for the most part, I want to see what Carolina looks like going up against someone else. And I was, they're trying to manage CMC. They don't want to get him hurt. But I think you have to give him the ball more. I mean, he's a very dynamic player, and I think he'll give your team an edge. So, but I know they don't want him to get hurt. So I understand where that's coming from.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the Browns. I was able to catch a little bit of this game. All I got to say is if they didn't have Brissett as their quarterback and it was Deshaun Watson, this probably would have been a blowout. They got off to an early lead. We saw Kareem Hunt go out there and, put on a clinic. And then Amari Cooper, he was wide open for another touchdown at some point in the game. And Brissett underthrew him by 20, 15 yards. So, I think the Panthers were able to capitalize on Brissett being the Browns starting quarterback. But, from the start in the first half, I mean, Cleveland dominated. And then, second half, they were able to ride off of that just enough to be able to, edge out a win.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything y'all saying there. The Browns, when you go up against a guy like Garrett or White, it's just some guys in the league that it almost feels like it's 4 of them on the field when it's just one of them on the field because they're just that impactful.
Right.
So I mean, McCaffrey didn't have much space to do what he normally does. But yeah. I definitely expect Carolina to have some better days. Than that obviously. But for the last one that we're gonna cover the Cowboys and Tampa game. How do you guys feel about that one?
Dallas Cowboys, man. Where do I start? The only team in the NFL week 1 to not score a touchdown. That's just laughable. I mean, considering that their offensive coordinator was up for several head coaching jobs this past offseason and decided to stay with the Cowboys, and he couldn't even produce a single touchdown in week 1. I mean, granted, the Cowboys lost 3 out of their starting 5 offensive line, and they lost most of their weapons in the offseason. So, I mean, you can make that excuse, but they still got CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott did get hurt. I mean, you got Zeke and Tony Pollard in the backfield and Dalton Schultz at tight end. You've got some weapons. They just could not produce anything against that Tampa Bay defense. In Tampa Bay, their offense didn't really look efficient, but they could get stuff going when they needed to. And, I think the biggest takeaway for me from that game is that Julio Jones looks way more healthy than he has the past 2 years. And if he can stay like that, then he can solidify himself as a very useful wide receiver too in that offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's very disappointing to see the Cowboys put that. I mean, Sunday night's supposed to be a primetime game, and that was just both teams. It was a field goal fest. It wasn't exciting as you'd want it to be. The last season opener, that was probably Dak's best game of his career. I wanted that part too, but we did not get that, unfortunately. You're seeing Amari Cooper. That's a big thing. Dak without Amari Cooper, it's not the same quarterback. Obviously, the O-line is they're going to struggle all year. I think the biggest thing for Tampa, defense is going to do their thing. They just got to I think Tom Brady missing time kind of halted their offense in the red zone. They weren't able to put the ball in the end zone when they got down there. So that's something they'll improve on, but Cowboy season is this close to being over. I know Dak is many would say it's already over, but Dak, he might come back in 3 to 4 weeks. I've been hearing something like that. So he wouldn't miss as much time, but it's looking glim in Dallas.
Yeah, I was already critical on the Cowboys, even with Dak Prescott, but now without him, I mean, they're in even a bigger debacle, really. But that was one thing that I mentioned, a week or two ago when we were doing preseason talks about the Cowboys was without Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott has, visibly gotten worse, with his play. And Amari's a big piece of that team. But when you pay Dak, sometimes you can't afford some of these other weapons. So, it was a tough scene. It was tough to see Dak Prescott go down with injury, and I think he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, not looking good in Dallas right now. There's a lot of unhappy Dallas fans after that week 1 game, and now they got even more to worry about now that they've got some no name as their starting quarterback who was throwing dud after dud in that whole second half against the Buccaneers. So, really not too pleasant of a situation there down in Dallas, really.
Well, you know what Stephen A says, but we'll go on when it comes to the Cowboys. And I mean, it's a black cat in the organization. I mean, it's always something. It's always something. The player gets suspended, a player gets hurt. It doesn't matter what the Cowboys do, they'll find a way to mess it up. And I think we got to blame the $1 billion man and Jerry Jones. I mean, you had the number 1 offense last year, and you decided to get rid of half the receivers. Mm-hmm. All right. Zeke's getting older. He's not getting younger. So now you're trying to split between him and Pollard. So one can't get full one's not getting full workload. So it's like you kind of battling between the two. You don't have a good offensive line. Diggs is only good for picks. He gets routed up. Besides that, you got your only bright spot is Parsons, on the defense, in my opinion. So there's just too many. There's just not enough. And then that gets hurt. So it's just like, and that gets hurt because you didn't make sure you had a good offensive line. So it all just comes back and it just bites them in the butt because they didn't do what they needed to do in the offseason. To me, they should have kept Amari Cooper. He was really good on the offense. Dak was comfortable with him. Obviously CD can be a number 1 option, but I would have liked to see them keep Cooper and him and have the 1-2 punch. So but I mean, when it comes to Tampa's gonna be a solid team. I mean, like Noah said, I really love what Julio did. I mean, he made when he made that I think it was like a 50-yard catch. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, this looks like the Julio of the Falcons. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you can get half of what he showed me against the Cowboys, and you get a healthy Godwin back, and you got Mike Evans making one-handed catches like he was doing, and you got Leonard Fournette running for over 100 yards, you're a Super Bowl contending team. So I like, they didn't score a ton of points, but I still like what Tampa did, and they showed me that they're gonna be right. They're gonna be fighting for championship spot here soon. But we're gonna have this one last, because I forgot about this game, but we got to talk about it. This Seahawks Broncos game. Guys, what is y'all thoughts on that? Because I know it was a lot of late late game calls that was very questionable. Well, I want to know what you guys feel about that one.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Broncos country is not riding right now. They are at a fall. This is not a good way to start off the year, losing to a team that's potentially going to have the first pick in the draft. It was tough, man. I was pretty high on the Broncos preseason, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's some growing pains. Maybe they got to get acclimated to some more stuff. But that was a ugly, ugly performance. I mean, the 2 fumbles inside the 5, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, giving up fumbles and that on that side of the field. And then on top of that, the last drive of the game, there's like 57 seconds left. You've got all 3 of your timeouts. You figured if it's 4th and 5, you're either going to hurry up and try to convert it, or you're going to call a quick timeout and save some time on the clock. It doesn't make sense for you to run off 30 seconds on the clock and then call a timeout if you're going to kick a field goal. Like, just go ahead and, you've got a quarterback that you're paying hundreds of millions of dollars. If you can't trust him to get 5 yards, why waste 30 minutes or 30 seconds and then call the timeout when the shot clock's about to go down? It just didn't make any sense. It was just a sloppy game altogether from the Broncos. And, I'll give some props to the Seahawks, but really the Broncos, it was self-inflicted wounds, really.
Yeah, Russell comes up short again. I feel like no, I used to be a Russell fan, but I think his best days are behind him. And I think the Broncos will be better than they were because he's better than Drew Lock. He's a good quarterback. But as far as, especially with the division they're in, they have a lot of room to clean up. That defense did not look good. That's the Seahawks. Geno Smith was tearing them guys up in the first half. And I think Russell's going to take time for Russell to get on the same page with his receivers. But other than that big play, which was kind of underthrown, and Judy just made that play, offense didn't look too – they were able to get down there, but they weren't able to finish drives. Their red zone offense also struggled. 2 turnovers, which is terrible. And then they got down there another time, and it's about 2nd and goal, got a penalty, backing them up 5 yards, and nobody could create separation. So they got a lot of work to do, a lot of things to clean up. They can do it, but I don't have any faith in them.
Yeah, so I got a couple things to say about these Broncos. It's something about Russell Wilson being on offense inside the 5-yard line. It just doesn't seem to work based on some history. Any sports fan recalls the controversial call to pass the ball on the 1-yard line when you got Marshawn Lynch in your backfield. Anyway, that's the pass. The Broncos had 2 possessions on inside the 3-yard line, 1st and goal too, with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams as your running backs, and they both fumble on the 1-yard line. That's just stuff that you're not going to play winning football doing that when you waste all that time with a long drive getting down to the goal line just to turn the ball over. It's just not going to bode well no matter who you're playing. And one more thing is, I think we saw the product of why these NFL teams play their starters in the preseason, at least for a little bit, because the Broncos were the only team in the entire NFL to not play a single starter all preseason.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think they probably came out a little rusty, especially defensive side. Because, the Broncos defense, everyone was hyping them up because they've been good in the past 2 or 3 years. And now that they finally have a quarterback, that's why people were so high on the Broncos. But I think they might have just been a little bit rusty. The Broncos, I don't want to overreact just because it's week 1, but they did lose to a pretty bad team. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. What really just frustrates me is anytime I see when a team's on the 2-yard line and you're running a shotgun, I shake my head. It's just You're just prone to make a mistake. You're the probability goes up 70% when you're on the 1-yard line and you decide, okay, instead of me trying to get a 1-yard rush touchdown, I'm trying to go for a 4-yard rush touchdown. You just make your life harder. So I never Russell Wilson again was in a spot where he was in a shotgun on one of those attempts to try to score, and it's just man, that's just not going to set up well. But yeah,
something straight out of Bill O'Brien's playbook.
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate saying that, but yeah, Russell Wilson had a lot of emotions too. You got to think about that. It was his first game, and just so happened it was the game. Obviously the NFL knew what they was doing. They made the first game him going back to Seattle. So I'm sure he had a lot of emotions going back, and he's still trying to figure out who his number one option is between Judy and Sutton. I don't know if we quite know just yet. Because Judy had the big play, but he also was trying to throw to Sutton a little bit more, and he just wasn't able to complete it to him. But overall, it was just a messy, sloppy game. You can't meet at the goal line twice and fumble both times and try to win a game. And like y'all said, you make it $250 million. I should be able to trust that guy to go for it. Then kicking a 64-yard field goal. And then the whole time management was off. It was just terrible from the start. So they deserve to lose that game. But I still got to trust them to be better than the Raiders, but that's about it. The Chargers and the Chiefs are clearly above them. And I think that's going to be the case all year long.
Right. Yeah. What was y'all's thoughts on that Chargers and Raiders game? I know that's another AFC West game that took place.
Like I said about the O-line, the last two drives, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Derek Carr couldn't even get anything off. I think Adams is going to do his thing. I don't think Derek Carr will always play that bad, but he is capable of having. He didn't play terrible, but the turnovers, he's always capable of having a game like that. Mm. But I was impressed with what I seen out of Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers kind of should have put the game away. So the late game, it wasn't flawless, but they got room to improve.
Yeah, I think the people were worried about Devontae Adams and how he would be, if he would have the same production with having Derek Carr as his quarterback. He's still him. You can tell. They're targeting him left and right that whole game. But from the Chargers aspect of things, they lose Keenan Allen for a few weeks with his hamstring issue. So now they gotta depend on Mike Williams and one of these young guys to step up in that wide receiver 2 role. And also, they're running a committee backfield, which people didn't really expect going into this season. Eckler only had 50% of the snaps, and he was sharing them with Isaiah Spiller. So that's just like I guess they're just trying to either manage Eckler because he is kind of getting up there in age, or I don't know. The Chargers still won. They're still a dominant team. So, as long as you win, I guess it's all that matters.
Yeah, one of my biggest takeaways was, it was apparent the difference of talent between Carr and Herbert in this game. Anytime any pressure got towards Carr, he's not necessarily, he doesn't have crazy size and he doesn't have crazy arm strength. So when you got a team bringing as much pressure as the Chargers were in that week 1 matchup, he really struggled at times with that and had some, costly turnovers. But it's good to finally see Herbert get some defense for once that can make a stop for once. So, really impressed with what I saw with the Chargers, man. I think that's going to bode well for them and give them an opportunity to make a big run this year.
Eli had to get that Herbert take. He got to go up that Herbert take.
Yeah, I think he got that man. And then I think he wore the powder blue on purpose. And then he just started smiling when he started talking about Herbert.
Don't get too excited.
He just does something to Eli. He just started smiling, man.
Hey, I'm a Herbert guy, but they finna taste the L this coming week. So don't get too high on your horse.
Hey, I guess it's just Destin. It's meant to be. I got the powder blue on.
Do you know what the Chargers remind me of?
What's that?
The Vikings.
Yeah, they're gonna sell, and when it comes down to it, they're gonna fold.
They play too many close games.
They don't have to,
and they don't have to. But they put themselves sometimes in a situation. To me, that game should have been a 3-touchdown game. Carr made a ton of mistakes. The offensive line was exactly what y'all said. Mack and Bosa was able to get pressure left and right. That shouldn't have been as close as it was, right? With the flaws the Raiders had, and then you look at the score and it was 24-19. That's too close to comfort. And we know last year the issue was down the stretch, not closing out games. Now they do have a better defense. So I do have more faith in the defense. I picked them to win the division, but the only thing that has me nervous is them playing below the competition. But that's the only thing that worries me. But they're gonna be great all year long. Herbert's great. As long as they handle their business and just play throughout the whole game, they'll be fine. But that kind of worries me a little bit because they tend to play a lot of close games, and the smallest of things can win or lose your game when you're in a one position game. But I guess now we're gonna get to these power rankings for the AFC and NFC. So What's your guys' top 5 looking like? I guess we can start with AFC.
Who gonna go first?
This just based off week 1.
Yeah, just based off week 1.
I can start off. I got mine ready. I got
Okay.
at 1, I got the Bills. At 2, I've got the Chiefs. At 3, I've got the Chargers. 4, Ravens, and then 5, Bengals. Bengals, I mean, man, they look sloppy this week. The fact that you lose to the Steelers, who have Mitch Trubisky, who couldn't get anything going in the first half of the game, that was a bit questionable for me. I've got the Ravens ranked over the Bengals in that aspect. Sloppy game from Burrow. I mean, I know it's week 1 still, so I think they're gonna fix their kinks and they're gonna find ways to get better. But yeah, that's my top 5. I was really disappointed with the Bengals. I was expecting more out of them. They had plenty of opportunities to win against the Steelers and just weren't able to close the deal. But the Bills, Thursday night football, prime time, they made a statement. Chiefs, they surprised me. I didn't know. I knew they were good. I didn't know they were going to be that good though. So really impressed with Patrick Mahomes, and then Chargers and Ravens at that 3 and 4 spot. So
yeah. So I'm flip flopping the 1 and 2. I got the Chiefs at 1. Their offense just looked too unstoppable to rank them any lower than 1 in the AFC. But I got the Bills right there at 2, just because they just absolutely dominated the defending Super Bowl champs. Then at 3, I'd put the Chargers just because I like their team better than I do the Ravens, just because the Ravens could not move the ball in the run game, which I know they don't have J.K. Dobbins back, but I mean, let's be honest, J.K. Dobbins isn't like a top 10 running back in the league anyway. So, I mean, their run game just looks stagnant against the Jets, which is, I don't think that's going to bode well, especially with how their game plan is. But I'm going to put the Ravens behind the Chargers 3, Ravens 4. And since it's just based off week 1, the Bengals look terrible. My fins up Dolphins look really good. And I'm gonna have to put them at 5 because I can't really think of a team that looked better than the Dolphins, other than the 4 I already named. Week one wise.
You're right.
Wait, so Noah, what's got you having the Chiefs over the Bills? Because the Bills played the defending Super Bowl champs with all their pieces returning, and they beat
right.
touchdowns.
All their pieces returning.
It's because of how easily the Chiefs move the ball on the Cardinals. I mean, I know the Cardinals isn't a top 5 defense, but like the Chiefs literally were easily getting ball downfield and scoring every single time.
Well, I mean, the Bills are doing the same thing against what Jalen was saying was the best defense in the league.
I mean, the Bills turned the ball over.
No, I know, but and that's my point too. They turned the ball over 2 times and still beat them by
3. I think it's 3 times.
3 times. They beat
I'm just saying the way the Chiefs look to me, in my opinion, I have them 1 over the Bills just for week 1 wise.
It can't be by a massive gap. I think so. Mine, I probably go Buffalo barely by like a hairline, but I might even pick the Chiefs to beat them because they have the best player in the NFL. So I just let's pick them. They're 1 and 2. I think we all agree, probably across the whole NFL. 3, I agree. Chargers. I mean, talent-wise, they're elite. Their roster's elite. They just got to learn how to finish games and play games at a high level all the way through. 4, I also agree with Ravens. And then 5, I was trying to decide between – if you would have asked me this before Monday night, I would have said Broncos. But I did not like what I seen. So I'm forced to go with the Bengals, even though – and I think them turning the ball over 5 times and still being able to win that game is like, come on. Like, they still gave themselves chances to win even though they turned the ball over.
Yeah, and they should have. Honestly, they had an extra point to win it and a field goal in overtime, and they shanked.
The Bengals lost though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like all they had to do was make an extra point or a field goal in overtime, even with as bad as they played.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
After losing the turnover margin by 5, and
still
also
somehow found a way to win that game.
They didn't win.
No, I know. I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
They had an extra point and a chip shot field goal. So
I got you. Yeah.
They should have challenged that Jamar Chase touchdown because I think it was a touchdown, but they got robbed. But my thing, I would put the Dolphins over the Bengals, but you know why I can't do that.
Why is the Bengals over the Dolphins?
because of the quarterback position.
But we're basing
Bro,
off.
we're talking about
basing
teams.
off of week 1, correct?
Yeah, but if you force me to only go off 1 week, I would have to do that. But I'm not doing that. It's like a composite where I think the teams are right now.
Okay, I got
Who
you.
I think will win on the neutral field. I think that Tua, I don't even think, in my opinion, he did his job. Okay, but he didn't play a great game to me. I watched that entire game.
But the guy, but Bobo didn't either. Who you have at 5? So what are we doing?
No, because Burrow is clearly better than Tua.
Based
Four
off
picks and a fumble. Four picks and a fumble.
Hold on.
Jalen, don't say based off what. We know based off.
Listen,
what.
I'm a Bobo guy. I got
No,
the top 5.
I'm asking y'all.
the man a question.
You got Burrow as your top 5 quarterback. Don't say based off what.
No, I'm just asking him a question. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to pick his brain, Eli.
What you mean based?
No, but I asked y'all before I made my rankings that this is based off week 1, and y'all said yes.
And they all
so
said, yeah,
exactly.
If we're saying,
if we're saying
yeah,
based
y'all
off
know
week
I'm
1,
if
we're saying based off week 1, the Bengals
Bobo
have the
can't
most
be in
turnovers
top
than
five.
anyone.
Bengals play terrible.
I need everyone watching this that is a part of Destin's army to rewind this video. Y'all would have seen my face. Y'all would have seen my face when they said based off week 1, because I'm like, I didn't say anything. Because I don't want to just go off of 1 week like that. I want to go off this week and what I think is going to happen. And I just feel like
okay, that's fine. Okay.
Tua just he's not. I love Tua, bro, and I'm a Dolphins fan.
It sounds like you're saying Tua's not him. I mean, just say
he's
it.
not.
That's what you feel like.
He's
okay,
not.
Well,
he's clearly going to be the thing that holds the Dolphins back from being Super Bowl contention. And I want the guy to win a Super Bowl. I wish he could compete for MVPs, but that's just not who he is. Obviously, Tyreek Hill has already made him better than he was. He threw what could have been a turnover-worthy play, and Tyreek Hill just went up there and made a play. So they'll help him, but I just feel like on a neutral field, I like the Bengals over the Dolphins because of the quarterback position.
I got you. Well, my list would be the Bills, Chiefs, Chargers. I got the Dolphins at 4 based on what I seen, and then I would go Ravens 5th, slightly above the Bengals.
Dolphins over Ravens?
Yeah. I didn't like the way they played down to their competition. I don't like when teams do that. So you got to get punished for that. But I think the Ravens can have a solid team this year. Obviously, they could climb high in the rankings. It's gonna be tough though, because I think the 3 teams ahead of them are gonna continue to be ahead of them throughout this whole season. But undoubtedly, the Dolphins should be over the Bengals for this week.
I agree with that. Just
now I do.
Based off week 1, Bengals look terrible.
Destin over here trying to do a composite score. This isn't the ACT. Composite.
That's what we're preparing for, though.
Why
are
we talking about composite score? This isn't 24/7 sports.
If y'all want a composite
score
based off of
this isn't Alabama versus Georgia composite rankings.
Bro,
what are you talking about?
Want to go off for week 1, like that's. We
obviously
know. But 1 week is just 1 week like that. That's like it's too flimsy of a thing to go off of. You have to combine it with all the external factors, or at least I have to. I can't just go off of 1 week. Come on, bro.
I get Destin's point of view with this, because he's kind of coming at it. I'm kind of looking at it from a devil's advocate too. I look at the Bengals. They played arguably a top 3, top 5 defense in the Steelers. And the Dolphins played a Pats team that's going to be a 3 or 4 win team. So
the Steelers don't have a top 3 defense, bro.
Really? With TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and those guys that they've got on that side of the ball, you don't think they have a top 5 defense?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Let's get into this NFC though.
Let me just say this real quick. If it weren't for the Steelers defense, they wouldn't have come anywhere close to a playoff last year. They had Big Ben at quarterback, and they still somehow made the playoffs.
That's what Mike Tomlin do. Mike Tomlin win games.
You gotta put some respect on the Steelers defense. I will give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to the Bengals.
I think they're really good. I just don't think they're top 3.
I said top 3, top 5. I said top 5.
So you think their defense is better than the Chargers?
No.
Packers?
I would say better than the Packers.
Based off week 1?
Don't do that. Nah, stick with your composite. Stick with your ACT score. Composite.
Based off of week
Packers, right?
And from what I've seen from them in the past year, because most of those guys from last year are still on the team.
So you think the Steelers defense is better than the Packers?
They carried the Steelers to the playoffs last year. If it's not for that defense putting up the type of performances they did last year, they get nowhere close to a playoff appearance.
So the Steelers defense last year was better than the Packers.
Not last year.
So you're only basing off week 1? I thought we were going composite score.
I got them as a top 5 defense.
Devil's advocate.
I got them as a
y'all only play devil's advocate for the other thing.
What are you talking about, y'all? What are you talking about, y'all?
Because I'm trying to see. I thought y'all were going composite score. We're going composite. The Packers have a better defense, correct?
I do. I agree. Packers, Saints.
Well, I'm trying to see why Eli doesn't think that the Packers.
He could just think that they're not better this year or whatever. I
Based
don't know.
on week 1, Eli, or just overall.
I didn't say that they were better than the Packers defense. I said the Steelers have a top.
I asked you.
He's just trying to say they got a good defense, bro. So give the Bengals a little bit of.
I'm just trying to see how they were top 3 because they're not that just top 3.
I said top 5.
You definitely said top 3, but we can go back and play the record later on.
I said top 5.
Let me know how y'all feel about that NFC.
I just hope that was,
all right, yeah,
okay,
let's roll NFC.
Yeah, let's
we're
get
gonna go NFC.
What's y'all's power rankings for NFC?
For me, are we basing this off week 1 or not? I need a definite answer.
Hey,
no,
we're
doing
week 1 and we're doing
All
composite
right.
ACC scores.
All right, I'm doing based off week 1. Strictly. All right.
I just play.
So based off week 1, I got the Vikings 1, 2 Buccaneers, 3 Eagles, and probably 4. It's between. I'd give the edge to the Saints at 4. Then at 5, I'd give it to the Packers. The Vikings at 1, just because of the fact they routed the Packers, which we thought was a top 3 defense in this league, in which they sure did not look like it week 1. The offense, I mean, we talked about this earlier. The offense with the Vikings just looks different this year. Eagles or Buccaneers at 2, just because Tom Brady is him. He just needs a little bit more time to get the rust out because he wasn't really active in the preseason with his personal reasons being away from the team. Eagles arguably have a top 3 roster, like on paper in the NFL. Just like there's really no holes in their entire roster. It's just a bunch of young guys. But Eagles, I like the way their offense looked. Their defense scared me a little bit, allowing 35 on the Lions. That's just terrible. But offensively, the Eagles look good. Jalen Hurts looked like he's improved in the past game like we all thought he would. And then at 4, I had the Saints just because Michael Thomas is back. If he's healthy throughout the year, that's going to bode well for the Saints offense. Obviously, having Landry and Olave as your wide receiver 2 and 3, along with Kamara. I mean, Kamara he kind of got shut down week 1. But I mean, Kamara is still Kamara. He's a weapon. So I like the Saints and the way their defense is. And then 5, I had the Packers just because I'm not willing to count them super out yet based on their week 1 performance. I thought they looked better than the Rams did as a whole. But I don't know. That's my top 5 NFC week 1 wise.
Yeah, with mine, for the NFC, I've got Bucks at 1, Vikings at 2, Rams at 3, Eagles at 4, and then Packers at 5. I don't even have the Saints in here.
Bro, why are you hating on the Saints, bro?
Let me get my point across. The Saints, Jameis Winston did not even lead a touchdown drive until the 4th quarter against the Falcons, against a prevent defense. And I think Taysom Hill, the reason that they scored a touchdown in the first half was because Taysom Hill had a long 53-yard run, and he got the chunk of those yards in that first touchdown drive. Jameis Winston and that Saints offense did not impress me, and the offensive line was struggling. They gave up 4 sacks in the first 3 quarters. They were really sloppy. If they weren't playing the Falcons, who are known to infamously blow leads, then they would have lost to any other team in the league. So I'm not high on the Saints. I get it, 16-point comeback, but it's the Falcons. They're going to have a top 2 or 3 pick, and Jameis Winston couldn't even consistently complete passes until the Falcons. So
wait.
Saints. That's why I'm sleeping on the Saints, and they're at 6 for me. They're not in my top 5.
So rename your 5.
I got the Bucks, 2 the Vikings, 3 the Rams, 4 the Eagles, and then 5 the Packers.
Why are the Vikings so high for y'all?
I told y'all I'm high on the Vikings. I've been high on the Vikings preseason.
And the Vikings impressed me.
Bro, it's been
I know you guys were surprised after week 1 because y'all
Based
slipped
off week 1. I know it's
Composite
been 1
score.
week, but based off week
No,
1.
he's going composite score, Noah.
No,
Composite.
I know, bro. I know.
You gotta
That's what I'm
add
saying.
it.
Based off week
They
1.
got
come on.
to add it all together.
Every single one of y'all were sleeping on the Vikings before the season.
No one was
For-
sleeping on the Vikings.
reason.
Kirk Cousins is going to
They
play
haven't
up and
proved
down all
anything to
year.
make us not be
They're
sleeping.
gonna be like a roller
That's
coaster,
why
up and
I got
down.
the Vikings.
Yeah, they a very up and down team.
It's so hard to do this NFC
No
because like
consistency.
all the teams that played, like I gotta go Bucks
About
1. I got the most confidence in the Bucks. 2, I want to put the Saints.
No way. No way you doing that.
I want to.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Please.
I want to hear
this is your composite. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Let's put the Saints at 2 for moving the ball against a prevent defense.
I can't do it though. I'm not gonna put them 2.
Points against the Falcons for 3 quarters.
Oh, see, I hate doing this week 1 crap, man. I'm gonna go Eagles, even though I was not impressed with their defense. Why is Kobe Dean not playing? Jordan Davis didn't play that many snaps. Whatever. I like the Eagles. I think they'll be able to build on what they did. They played down. Some people think Detroit's going to be a good team. So, I don't know. We'll see there. I'll go Eagles at 2. 3, this is where it starts getting tricky. I mean, I can't put the Rams at 3 based off of what I seen Thursday and combined with what they lost. And they're fighting a losing battle. I think since the NFC is weak, they'll be a decent team. But at 3, I don't know if I can put them that high. I'm just scared of the Vikings because I know they're inconsistent, but I guess I'm forced to put them up there, even though I don't think they'll be there at the end of the season. And then I'll probably go Packers. I'm going Saints, Packers. I'm going Saints, Packers.
Wait, so rename your 5?
Bucks, Eagles, Saints. I'm changing it. Saints at 3. And then I'm going Vikings, Packers. Actually,
Okay.
Vikings at 5, Packers at 4.
Ain't no way you putting the Vikings. They beat the Packers.
Yeah, it's one game.
Okay,
You're
so
putting them behind. Oh,
the Vikings.
One game.
The Vikings spanked the Packers.
One
And you're gonna put 'em-
game.
They
One
put some-
game.
That,
I'm
look,
not-
that just keep sleeping. Keep sleeping.
I'm
bro, the
snoring.
Vikings beat the Packers, but you put the Vikings behind the Packers?
Because it's 1 week. It's a power ranking. It's not the standings of the NFC. It's the power rankings, bro.
Bro. I don't know about that, Destin. I love you, though.
I love you too, bro.
I got the Bucks, Eagles. I'm gonna go Rams. That is the defending champs. They played to me the best team in the
That's
league.
who I
So,
meant to put up.
I'm
on the
not gonna
Vikings.
knock you. I'm not gonna take you out of the power rankings because you got beat up, but you got beat up by the best team. So I mean that is worth no. Then I got the Vikings, and at 5, it's a tie with the Packers and Saints for me. I can't with it. I can't. I mean, them receivers for the Packers look so bad, and the Saints defense is gonna have a lot more better days than they had against the Packers. I don't know what was going on.
So no,
with the Falcons.
wait. So no Eagles.
I just said the Eagles for second.
He had the Eagles at 2.
And then Rams at 3?
I'm high on the Eagles. You know I am. I said Super Bowl contender. I'm that guy that said that.
Wait, so
I'm being consistent. I got the Bucks. The only team that's ahead of the Eagles is the Bucks for me.
and then at 3,
Rams,
4,
Vikings, and then
Yeah.
like I said, I can't really
bro.
separate the Packers and Saints right now. I really can't.
Pick a side.
I can't. If you forcing me,
Pick a side.
I'm gonna say the Saints.
I like to hear it.
That's just crazy. I don't know how Destin has the Packers over the Vikings when they have no receivers, no reliable weapons.
You'll
And the
see, bro.
Vikings beat the Packers.
Bro, because I'm not
They didn't
going
know
off of
they
that
did.
one
I see
game.
what Destin's saying. I see what
No,
Destin's saying.
they didn't just beat them; they spanked them. That's what happened.
So did the Saints to the Packers last year. And then what
Yeah.
happened?
We'll see.
Yeah, but that's when they had Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
We'll come back to these.
Yeah. We'll definitely come back.
What's next on the menu?
NFL predictions for next week.
Yeah,
What's the matchups we got?
Yeah, so this one's going to be good because I think we split on our preseason picks for who's going to take the division in the NFC South. It's going to be the Bucks versus the Saints. So this should be a it should be a good one right here. Who y'all got?
Y'all know I got the Saints. I think they're gonna bounce back. It wasn't super encouraging what I seen, but them last drives were, and I like their potential. And I'm gonna stick with my guns. You know, I don't back down. I'm not gonna Eli walk back none of my takes. I'm gonna stand 10 toes. And famous Jameis, I mean, he's a walking meme. But no, honestly, I think they're gonna be able to play. I think the Saints, I don't know what they got, but when they play, like I say, when they play Tom Brady head to head, they always have his number. I don't think Tampa Bay is in midseason form yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if they drop this game. And yeah, I got the Saints taking this one.
Yeah, I got the Bucs in this one. From what I saw from the Saints week 1, they look like they got to build some work on their chemistry a little bit offensively. And Bucs wise, if there's anybody that knows how to trash on some Saints DBs, it's Julio Jones. So I think he's the way he looked week 1, he looks like he's way more healthy, like I said earlier, than he has been in the last 2 years. So I think the Bucs are going to pretty easily handle this game.
Yeah, if it took the Saints 4 quarters to get over 10 points against the Falcons, they're going to be in for a ride against the Bucs. I got the Bucs in this matchup. Julio Jones, that's my guy right there. I'd love to see him come out week 1, have a big week for the Buccaneers in this new role. And I think they have a bounce back week offensively. They get some more touchdowns on the board and they take care of business against New Orleans.
I got the Saints. The Saints play Brady well. The Saints play Brady better than anybody else does.
Yeah.
He struggles against the Saints. If you look up the stats, he plays out of everybody he's played against, he's probably worse against them. And I have to feel like the Saints feel disrespected. And it's gonna, fight out hard because everybody's roasting them about how they played against the Falcons. So I would hope that they have the motivation to come out better next week. And so I'm a ride with the Saints in the upset.
Yeah, and next matchup, this is we're going to be taking it to the West, AFC West, Chargers versus Chiefs.
Ooh,
It's at Arrowhead. I can't pick against. I think they're gonna split. Last year they split. Both teams won on the road. I think this year both teams will probably take care of home field. So I got the Chiefs winning this first game. I think the Chargers still have a room of improvement. I think the Chiefs are already looking like, even though they played a sorry team, I think they're building that confidence and they'll carry the momentum they had from last week into this week.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs in this matchup as well. I'm really high on the Chiefs after that week 1. Everyone knew they were going to be good, but like Eli said earlier, I didn't think they were going to be that good, especially offensively. And one thing that worries me about the Chargers is without Keenan Allen in this game. So I don't think. They didn't even throw the ball to Mike Williams, or he didn't catch a ball all game last week, and now he's got to be their wide receiver 1 against the Chiefs. So I just don't like how that plays out for the Chargers in this matchup. So I'm taking the Chiefs at home.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs too. I love the Chargers. I got the Chargers winning the division, but I think the Chiefs take this one, especially if it's an Arrowhead. And like Destin said, Chiefs look like they're in mid-season form right now. So give me the Chiefs right now, especially with them having home field advantage in arguably the toughest place to play in the NFL. I think Arrowhead's going to be rocking, and they're going to get a big win.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs as well.
No.
I was trying to be different. But no Keenan Allen was the problem for me to try to be different against you guys. I gotta go with the Chiefs.
Ooh, I'm scared everyone picked the same team. Now we're gonna.
I can't. They don't have the number one. And then Mike is so inconsistent. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I think
I gotta go.
Austin's gonna pop off
Chiefs.
though. Eckler's gonna eat, I think, but
He gonna get not enough. Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs, and it's at home. Yeah,
Right.
Got you.
Yeah, next one, Patriots versus Steelers.
Ooh, okay.
This is the battle of the 1940s offenses. So I'm gonna take. Where's this game being played at?
I think it's in Pittsburgh. Let me get back with you on that. I think it's in Pitt, though.
Both those offenses look terrible week 1. Both two of the best coaches in the NFL, so you can't really give the edge either way on that. So I don't know. I like the Steelers in that game just because the Steelers caused so many problems to the Bengals offensive line in that offense, and that was against Joe Burrow. And the way the Patriots offense looked week 1 with the Dolphins causing problems as far as turnover wise, Steelers are just going to be that much worse. So I think the Steelers defense is going to take over again, even without TJ Watt in this game. I think the Steelers are going to take this one.
As a fan, I'm picking with my heart. I think New England got a good chance to win this game, though. It's 50-50, to be honest. I know going into this, I was like, this is a easy game for New England, but I was not encouraged by what I seen Sunday. But I'm picking with New England. Hopefully, Matt Jones can bounce back, have a better game. O-line got to do that thing. TJ Watt being out definitely will help them. And hopefully, they'll be able to run the ball better, make the offense look a little better than it did last week.
Yeah, I'll have to disagree. I got the Steelers. The Patriots looked atrocious. They look like they look like a chicken with their head cut off on offense. So I have no confidence whatsoever in that team. So give me the Steelers, especially with it being in Pitt. And at least Najee Harris is, not going to be out for a while. Apparently, he's rumored to come back in week 2. So I think that'll help a little bit too, given that they don't have a great quarterback. So give me the Steelers. They got better weapons, and they still got a really good defense, even without TJ Watt.
Yeah, I got to go with the Steelers too. At least they got Najee. I don't know who the Patriots have as a legit weapon for me to have faith in this game.
Nobody.
We're gonna shock the world.
I know Destin.
I like the Patriots, bro.
I mean, Destin has 6 teams, so you never know who he's going for today. He got a team for every day of the week.
That's his root.
I think that's his 6th. That's his 6th favorite team now. So I guess I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I got to go with Pitt. Have a weapon. Najee's gonna be there, so I'm going with them. And I'm gonna say the score gonna be like 6-3.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
6-3.
It's
a possibility.
Give me a
and I wouldn't be shocked if it's a safety or something, like the ball goes behind the thing over the guy's head or something. I don't know, man. Nobody's going to touchdown.
Yeah, give me Steelers. Give me Steelers 3-2. But next matchup we got Noah's Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be a good matchup.
Ooh.
We kind of get to see what Tua's made of in this one.
It's at Baltimore too, right?
Yeah. This one's at Baltimore. Baltimore came to us last year, and we actually smacked them in that game that caught everyone off guard because that was in the middle of our losing streak. But this one's in Baltimore. The only positive thing that I have is that the Dolphins or the Ravens did not run the ball well even against the Jets. And so I think with the Dolphins corners and the DBs that we have between Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, Byron Jones is on IR, so he won't be playing. But between Xavier Howard, one of the best DBs in the league, Javon Holland, up-and-coming safety, I like how that bodes well against the Ravens' lack of weapons. And we might have to force them to pass. So I think that's what gives us the chance. But like y'all said, Tua is going to have to – this will be a good game for Tua to prove himself, see if he's made some improvements against this stout defense. Ravens are at home. I hate picking against my team, but I'm going to have to go with the Ravens in this matchup.
Yeah, I got the Ravens. I think it's a tough matchup for Tua going on the road. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he can prove me wrong, but I just think Lamar and Baltimore being at home, I think that's going to be a little too much for him. So, and I still think Tua's got to get acclimated to having chemistry with Tyreek and we know he's got it with Jalen Waddle, but being in a tough road environment, I'm gonna take the Ravens in this one.
Go ahead, JP.
Oh, I'm going with the Dolphins. Fans up.
I knew he was gonna do it. I knew he was gonna do that.
At the Dolphins. I don't know if y'all seen that Jets game, but with Sean Bateman as wide receiver 1, Mark Andrews didn't have a touch. I'm not sold on that pass game. And hey, Tua may not be the best, but hey, Tyreek, he's gonna make plays. He's gonna make them look better. So I'm a ride with the upset pick in the Dolphins.
I wish I could, but I think we're gonna lose this one. I don't think we'll be able to go on the road.
Another week.
I like the Dolphins.
Oh, now we're on 7 days in a week. We going crazy,
bro. You can't like the Patriots and the Dolphins, man. That's like
I root for my Bama guys. I love all my Bama guys.
Yeah, I do too.
But it's a we. We going in the war this week. We got to go to Baltimore, but I don't think we're gonna get the job done because I just don't trust Tua. I'm sorry. That's really what it comes down to. I wish it was more. The only way they win is if Tyreek Hill and Waddle just continue to elevate him and make what would be short gains into long gains. One thing about Shanahan's coaching tree or whatever is the offensive scheme is a bunch of run after the catch yards. So that'll lend itself to Tua. But I think Lamar and them will take care of the home field. So I'm rolling with the Ravens.
I got one more thing to say about this game. I think it's going to be very close, no matter which way it pans out. If the Dolphins, I'm assuming they're going to attack the Ravens similar to how they did last year, defensively wise.
Yeah,
with just sending 6 or 7 guys at Lamar every play. Because if you make Lamar, I'm high on Lamar. I'm a Lamar fan, but we all know that his strength is his legs, and I wouldn't say his arm is a weakness, but it's definitely the weakest part of his game.
Yeah,
and so, especially his decision making at some parts. But I think it's sending pressure at Lamar. If we're able to get like successful pressure, like every single play, eventually that's going to turn into turnovers with the DBs that we have. And I think that's the key to win the game for my Dolphins over here. I don't think it's going to come down to Tua. I think it's going to come down to our defense causing Lamar to make mistakes like they did last year.
Yeah, and this next matchup we got Bengals versus Cowboys.
Oh Lord.
Bengals. What else do I need to say? Bengals.
Yeah,
a capital B for me.
Yeah, I gotta go back. Yeah, that's easy.
Cooper Rush did upset the Vikings last year. I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I remember that. But I mean, I think Joe Burrow's got to have a bounce back game after that terrible Week 1 performance. I mean, the Bengals are just by far the better team anyway, and especially now that the Cowboys are without Dak, I just think Bengals defense is going to be able to eat them alive. So I think this game is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are primed for a bounce back week. I know that they're probably really upset about what happened in what happened with the Pittsburgh Steelers game, having that many opportunities to close the deal and them, shanking 2 different kicks, an extra point and a field goal. So they're going to come out and they're going to be looking to prove a point against the Cowboys. Next one though, Cardinals versus Raiders.
This game is going to be a shootout. That's 2 teams with bad defenses. I honestly, I like the Cardinals in this matchup. I think the Cardinals, they started to move the ball a little bit better on the Chiefs in the second half of that first game, and the Chiefs have a better defense than the Raiders do, and just the Chiefs just got up to too big of a score to come back from at the beginning of that game. So the Raiders don't have the firepower offensively that the Chiefs do. So I like the Cardinals in this game. Kyler Murray and James Conner in the option game is going. I think I like that matchup.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Raiders. I'm gonna go the other way around. I got Raiders in this one. I think with the Cardinals defense being as bad as it is, Derek Carr is not going to have to deal with as much pressure as he did in that Chargers game, and I think he's going to be able to fire away. I think guys like Hunter Renfrow are going to get more involved. Devontae Adams is going to do his thing. I think Darren Waller goes out there, has a good game too. So, I think with all the weapons at his disposal, I think they're able to, come away with a big win and get a bounce back after, losing a tough one to the Chargers.
I mean, I share the same sentiment. I think, Eli said it's spot on. What a rare W take from Eli. Need I say more? I mean, offense is going to do their thing. I think the Cardinals, I just can't pick them. I think their whole thing is going to be in shambles for majority of the year. So I don't think they'll correct things this early in the season.
Who has home field in this game?
It's in Las Vegas.
I got the Raiders. I got the Raiders in that one.
What happens in Vegas?
So I'm dying on the Cardinals hill by myself then.
Looks like it.
I'm Go take the Cardinals.
He's only picking him because Kyler's his quarterback, and he's like, I need him.
Yeah, that's his fantasy quarterback.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. That had a little bit to do with my decision. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I think it's just too obvious on paper that the Raiders would probably win this game. So I think with how the NFL just works out, sometimes you have games like this where the team that nobody expected to win wins, aka Seahawks. So
yeah,
I like the Cardinals.
That's part of the reason why I picked the Browns against the Panthers last week. But yeah, and then the last one, this is another really good matchup. Maybe game of the week, honestly. Vikings and Eagles, two of the teams that had some of the most impressive performances facing off against each other. Who y'all got?
This is tough, really. I think this is a
pick 'em. That's gonna be a good game. The Eagles defense allowing 35 points to the Lions was kind of giving me this edge for the Vikings. But on the other hand, the Eagles got the good offense as well. And AJ Brown is him. And Jalen Hurts, like I said earlier, he looks like he's developed a little bit better in the past game. So I don't know, man. That's a tough pick. But I think I'm going to go with the Vikings in that just because of how bad the Eagles defense was last week.
Yeah, give me my Skulls, man. Give me my Skulls. I got the Skulls taking this game, man. They're gonna come in here. I know it's a tough match. Eagles, obviously their offense looks lethal, from what we saw against Detroit. So I think it's gonna be a pretty close game, but I feel good about the Vikings right now and where they sit. I think they're in a really good spot as a unit, as a team after, knocking off the in division rival against the Packers. So they're coming off a huge win, and I think they're going to build on that.
I'm going with the Eagles. My boy Jalen Hurts. I think we're going to be able to get this dub. I don't know where we play them, but I got faith.
There we go again.
I think guys. I think we're gonna. No, I'm rocking with
that's your fantasy guy too.
Yeah. No, Jalen's gonna do his thing. I think the Eagles are gonna do their thing on the ground. It's so hard to stop their running attack. AJ Brown, when you add a receiver like that to what they had last year, I mean, you seen what AJ Brown did this past week. I think he's going to have to show the ball a little bit more, get Smitty involved, keep doing his thing with Goddard. But I think they'll control the game on the ground. I got faith in Vikings offense, but like I said, I think they're inconsistent, and this will be a game that people be like, well, they should win, but they're going to take the L. So it's mostly why I'm going with the Eagles.
I got the Eagles, and I agree with everything Destin said. That was I don't, the Vikings are like, y'all ever took the math, like the linear, where you got the equation, you got, and like you have the line is going up and it's going down.
Yeah.
Going up, down. Yeah. And that's the trend that the Vikings tend to be on. So since they won week 1, I'm going to assume that the roller coaster goes down this week and they lose. And I probably have, that's that they have shown me to be. So I'm going to go with stats and I'm going to go with them losing week 2. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much wraps up all the week 2 matchups from NFL, but still on some football, but segueing over to some college football. We had some big time matchups this past weekend. I think one that's notable to everybody was Alabama versus Texas. What was some takeaways that you guys had from that game?
I mean, we ain't as good as it.
Start first one.
Go ahead and cook. Go ahead and cook.
I mean, we could all vent on this one.
Kool-Aid McKinstry. I mean, he might. I mean, the way he played in that game, he should have gave the receiver his brand deal for Kool-Aid, because that was a bad performance. I mean, had the pass interferences. I mean, when Ewers was in the game, they was just literally going straight to Kool-Aid. Whoever Kool-Aid was guarding was the guy that they was going to throw it to. Will Anderson, obviously, I mean, he was offsides 3 times. I've never seen him do that. And then he was a little shaken up. And yeah, I mean, it just wasn't the Bama team that I'm used to watching.
Yeah,
I mean, I just felt like
he had the personal foul too. Also, Will Anderson was.
What was that? What was that?
For some reason,
he was frustrated.
It was just not the Bama that I'm used to seeing. The offense just wasn't as crispy. Now Texas made they mistakes, but I just thought Alabama made way too many mistakes that they usually wouldn't make, and that's what made the game closer than it should have been.
For me, my biggest takeaway from that Bama Texas game was the play calling offensively for Bama. Just even just formation wise, on that drive where they had the controversial call where it was everyone thought that it was going to be a safety, but then they called roughing the passer with targeting. Ended up that it wasn't targeting, and Bryce got the ball off before he was down. So, but in that end zone, Bama's on their 2-yard line, and they line up in shotgun. Like, get in I formation, get some yards to give yourself some breathing room, and they do that on the other side of the field. Whenever they're on the 1 or 2 yard line, and they line up in shotgun on 4th and goal, and they ended up not getting it. And it's just like the play calling, formationally wise, was terrible for me, in my opinion. And Texas fans have been making the excuse for years now that if Colt McCoy didn't get hurt in the national championship, what could have happened? Which, I don't know. That's either here nor there. I was only 7 when that game happened, so I barely even remember it. But this game, this is where the argument comes in because Quinn Ewers was dotting up Bama's defense like crazy before he got hurt. So, and to only lose that game by 1, if you're a Texas fan, you can't help but wonder if Quinn Ewers didn't get hurt, could you have taken down Bama at home? So, and honestly, I think they would have if Quinn Ewers had played that game. I think the way that game was going, Bama not playing their A game, I think Texas would have taken that game.
I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but I was the only one that was. I was the highest on Texas, was I not, JP?
You said they were back. And
okay, now he wants to play this card.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said. Back.
So you really
4 days, bench young days. That's what I think of back means with Texas.
I just meant they're back to being good. They're back to being competitive. And they will be back to not that much, but in the coming years, they're going to build back to being an elite program again, bro. It's about that money, and Texas got all the money. But I was high on – I love Sark. I think he's the best offensive mind in college football. And I was telling you about this quarterback, talking about Ohio State rejects. I knew he had the talent, and I knew that Sark could bring the best out of him. I would be lying to you if I told you that I thought that this game was going to be what it was. I was just very disappointed in what we did. We didn't show up, really. One of our worst games in a long time. What I'm saying is these crop of guys don't travel well. Struggled last year against Florida, A&M, Auburn. A bunch of penalties, just sloppy play all over the place. This offense is not what we thought it was going to be. I think the receivers, they're going to have to get more in sync. We're going to have to get healthy there. They did the thing closing, but the defense was nothing to be proud of either. They just have a lot of improvement to do, and I don't think we were as good, or we are as good as we thought we were going to be going to this season.
Yeah, I mean, kind of touching on the subject that Noah brought up about the what ifs, the questions of the what ifs with Colt McCoy and the questions of the what ifs with Quinn Ewers. Now, with Colt McCoy, I don't think if he's in that game, he stops Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram from dropping 100+ yards
right
on the other side of the ball. So I still think Alabama gets that. But I can definitely say that if Quinn Ewers would have stayed in this game, I do believe Texas probably would have won that. They were in a rhythm. Alabama's defense was frustrated. The play calling offensively for Alabama was not there. But thankfully, we have Bryce Young. Bryce Young came and saved the day once again. I mean, we saw it last year. Even though the offense played really, really bad against Auburn, he was able to get it together late. And then he showed that same cool, calm, and collectiveness in this game against Texas. And, obviously it's frustrating if you're a Texas fan, knowing Quinn Ewers was out. But at the same time, I still feel like it's not fair to make excuses because they did have opportunities to win this game. They missed the chip shot field goal. It got blocked before the half. They could have ran the ball right up the gut with Bijan Robinson, who's arguably the best running back in the country at the 2-yard line, but they didn't show any confidence in one of their best players. And then on top of that, they got down in the red zone several different times in the second half and weren't able to finish off those drives. So honestly, there was several chances, even without Quinn Ewers, that Texas could have closed this thing out. And Alabama obviously didn't play to the Bama standard, but I think Bama's really fortunate to get out of week 2 with a win. That was, that was a really bad game from them.
the reason I don't want to bring up the play call, and I think it's something we all agree with. That's probably one of the weakest links about our team. None of us like Bill O'Brien calling plays for us. It just hasn't done the good. We've seen that throughout the entire last year and this year. I just don't think that's something we can change. So we're gonna have to live with it. And I think the players improving and doing their job is something that is more feasible. So I think that's what we should focus on doing in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I think that was the one thing that, really stood out to me the most was that. And then obviously the self-inflicted wounds off the penalties for Alabama too is what helped Texas drive down the field. But and then this next matchup, these are another two SEC teams, Kentucky and Florida. What was the takeaways that you guys had with that Kentucky and Florida game?
And the quarterback that likes mayonnaise in his coffee outplayed the apparently the Heisman favorite after week 1, AR-15. And I was part of those guys that were hyping up AR-15, maybe a little bit too much, but I guess just from what I saw in the Utah game, he really looked good. But then he played Kentucky, and man, he struggled. He struggled moving the ball. He couldn't get out of the pocket. They didn't let the man run, and obviously they exploited. They took away his strength, which is his legs, and that kind of made him flustered. I think he had 2 picks. One was a pick 6. So I mean, it's just when you have those type of games against SEC defenses, unless it's like Vanderbilt, it's probably going to be. It's not going to be a good look for your team.
Yeah, I agree. It was a night and day difference from week 1 and week 2. Obviously, I think it's really tough, especially for a team like Florida with a first-year head coach. Given they put so much emotionally into that week 1 game against a top 10 team to come back and then to play a disciplined team that's coached by Mark Stoops. Kentucky's a really good squad, and they've shown in the past and in these past several years that they're disciplined on both sides of the ball. They got playmakers, and Will Levis is probably the best quarterback to come through Kentucky in a really, really long time. So Kentucky, they were sound. They weren't making mistakes. Anthony Richardson, he was not making those same passes that he was making in week 1. And also what affected him was the fact that Kentucky contained him and kept him in the pocket. And I think that frustrated him. So you could obviously tell by his body language and just by the way he was looking after every single play, he was flustered with himself. And it wasn't the same looking Florida team that we saw in week 1 against Utah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give JP the credit. Even though he was on the spectrum of being high on Florida or AR-15, I think Noah and Eli were higher on him than me. But Jalen was lower, and he was saying we have to wait and see it more. And I kind of said that a little bit, but I was teetering around. So I got to give him credit for that. I mean, exactly what he said could happen, did happen. He's an athlete at the end of the day. He's more of an athlete than he is a quarterback. Maybe he can get better, but he doesn't have that natural quarterback mind, and he can't make the plays right now. So we've seen that Kentucky's defense did their thing, took care of the ball. So I think the biggest takeaway is a lot of people were really high on Florida coming out of that Utah game, and I think they came back to earth, and we can be more reasonable with their outlook for the rest of the season.
The guy with mayonnaise outplayed AR-15. The man with mayonnaise. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I mean, it's similar to the linear that I was describing with who was it? Oh yeah, the Vikings. Was up and down. That's similar to what AR-15 does too, and it showed exactly what I described last week. I said he's gonna come back down to earth, and that's what he did. Because like I said, I also felt like Utah wasn't gonna be the team that they was last year, which will also show later on as the season progresses. So I mean, I think the 8-4 prediction and cap that sounded crazy is gonna end up coming to fruition. But yeah, I mean, Kentucky's a really solid team. They're overrated though. They're gonna end up being a 4 or 5 loss team once they go up to Georgia and Tennessee and a really good team.
Wait. You said Kentucky?
Kentucky, similar to last year.
5 loss
That was
team.
highly ranked last year. Georgia stumped them by 5 touchdowns, and they went on to lose 5 games.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing this right. You said Kentucky's a 5 loss team.
4th to 5 loss team. Yes, this season.
Can you name them? Or are you gonna just say that?
Not don't mean nothing. They were highly ranked last year. Last year, college game that I remember. Georgia. They went into Georgia. They hyped their game up. Georgia beat them by 5,000. I heard nothing else from Kentucky. They went downhill from there.
So tell me the 5 I need to know these 5 losses because you be pulling them out of thin air sometimes.
I don't know why you saying sometimes because it come to be it's accurate.
No,
I mean, you got Georgia, and Tennessee. That's 2.
Kentucky's been consistently a 9 to 10 win team for the past 4 to 5 years.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, they have. Look it up. You have not been watching college football. If I'm lying.
9 to 10 wins. Oh, that's
Dude,
not.
Yes, they have.
5 years. The last 5 years they won 9.
Back when they had Snead, they went and won 10 to 11 games that year.
10 to 11. Oh no. Pull. Let's we got to pull up the research.
What year was that?
I thought
Snead, they were undefeated for like the first 7 to 8 weeks,
and they went on to lose.
Wait, I thought last year's Kentucky team was their first team they had that had 10 wins in like a long time.
It was. You're not making somebody's head. You said last 5 seasons won 9 to 10 games. No, they haven't. Where's the stat line at, Eli? We got to pull this up.
Okay. Well, I know the season was shortened the year before last, right? They only played 10 SEC games.
They're not winning 10 games a year. No way.
I said 9 and 10 wins. They've been a 9 to 10 win team.
No, they haven't.
I'm not saying all the time. I'm saying
you said the last 5 years.
All right, 2021, 2022, they went 10-3.
Yeah.
The year before that, they were.
That was the COVID year, wasn't it?
If I'm not, I think 8-4.
All right, so now Eli's already done. He already.
No, they were 8-4 in the regular season. And that was without a bowl game. I said 9 and 10 wins.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You obviously have not been watching college football.
Did they win the bowl game? Did they win the bowl game?
Let me see. Let me check.
I'm saying Kentucky has been winning.
Did they win the bowl game?
Because I wanted to say that last year I remember watching that game where Kentucky got their 10th regular season win. It was like the first time they'd done it in years.
It was their first one. Now maybe they win 9 every single time, but I don't know if that's true either. Unless it's 9 every single, unless it's been 9 the last 5 years, Eli. That was the first 10 win season, as Noah just stated.
I think last year they beat Iowa in that bowl game.
Okay, I'm talking about this 8 win season. Did they win that bowl game?
They didn't play a bowl game because it was COVID.
All right, so and you wrong. You said the last 5 years they won 9 to 10 games.
You can't.
You just said
your argument they couldn't play because of COVID. That doesn't prove.
I think they played NC State
with
in the Gator Bowl, and I think they won.
Destin, what's the record before that?
But anyway, Jalen didn't know that Kentucky's been a respectable team and a respectable program for the last 5 years, so that proves my point.
In 2019,
I never disproved you on that. I disproved you saying 9 to 10 wins the last 5 years, which I just disproved you of.
By asking several different times.
You said the last 5 seasons.
The 1920.
You say a statement. I'm going by your statement.
The 1920 year they went 11-2.
What year?
Whoa.
1920.
I thought you said that was the 10 win season.
No, they went 10 wins last year. Then they went 8-8, and then
8-8.
So I'm gonna do it in order. They won 8 games. So they won 11 games, then they won 8 games, then they won 8 games again, then they won 10 last year.
Yeah, so that
name me the last 5 years.
So the year before that, it was 10.
I can't believe
it was 10. So they won out of the last 5 years, they won 10 games 3 times and 8 games.
All right, what's the next matchup we're talking about?
Yeah, what's the next one?
So I can't believe we were on that for so long. That's common sense. But
you just made your statement wasn't true.
It was. They had 11
You said the last 5 years, and Destin just said 3 out of 5. That's not the same.
11 wins, they had 10 wins, and then they had 8 wins 2 years. They've been a
You said, what was your statement?
5 years.
What was your statement?
I said they've been having around 9 to 10 wins for the last 5 years.
Now you're saying around. No, you said 9 to 10 wins.
It 1 o'clock. He got to wake up at 5.
I got you.
Jalen, you keep asking these questions. You're not listening at all.
He already made the statement. I'm not asking anything.
If I can't talk, we'll just move on to the next topic.
He made the the statement was made. He said
Wait,
10 wins, 10 wins, 8
I was saying 9 to 10 wins. They've been averaging around 9 to 10 wins, and they've been a respectable program with Mark Stoops as their head coach for the last 5 years. So
I agree with that part. I agree
Who
with
we
that.
got? Who we got
what are
next?
we arguing about?
I don't even know.
Yeah, well, it's because you don't listen and you keep.
No, you told me
Bruh.
they won 9 to 10 games. So I just wanted to know. I just wanted
But
clarification. That's all.
next game, we got Tennessee and Pittsburgh. What was the takeaways you guys had in that one?
I would say my takeaway from that game is that Tennessee's quarterback is the real deal. He'll be able to keep them in games. He'll be able to keep them competitive, especially in the East. Not with Georgia, but they'll be a respectable team. Tennessee is probably gonna run through teams like Florida and Kentucky pretty easily, I would think, just how Tennessee looked to me. I said before the season started that Tennessee and Kentucky were going to be both good this year. And so far, that's reigning true. I mean, they've both had some pretty good matchups for their respectable teams, and they've won them. Like Tennessee beat Pittsburgh and Kentucky beat Florida. So, yeah, I liked how Tennessee looked. I didn't really pay attention much to Pittsburgh. I don't care about Pittsburgh.
No one cares about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't think anybody cares about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was watching them in week 1 because of it was one of the first games.
Yeah.
But that was but yeah, I mean, yeah, I was really high on Tennessee. That was one of my sleeper teams in the offseason. And Hendon Hooker is that guy. Cedric Tillman had 9 catches for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Tennessee looked good. I mean, but one concern I have with Tennessee is that defense. They looked terrible on defense against Pittsburgh. They should have closed that game out a lot sooner than what they did. Now, granted, they did come back from like 14 or 17 down. So that was a tough environment that they had to go on the road and play at. But offense looked great. Receivers did really good. Hendon Hooker had over 300 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. So they got a good-looking team over there up in Tennessee, and I'm excited to see what they can do the rest of the year.
I'm laughing because y'all last week it was AR-15. Now we like Hendon Hooker's that guy.
Yeah, it's crazy how just the 1 week is the clips.
But
We'll be here next week, Destin. We'll be
Hendon
next
Hooker.
week. You have to walk that back.
All right, look, here's the difference though. AR-15, that was his first like starting game. Hendon
That's what
Hooker's
made
been
it worse. That's
but
what
like,
made it
yeah. I'm saying, but
That's what made it
Hendon
worse.
Hooker has been the starter. Like people have been knowing that he's the real deal.
I definitely agree. I'm more so
I've been saying this since the offseason. What's the
Eli?
you can go back and check
Up a guy that had one good.
go back to the college football episode, and I brought up Tennessee and Arkansas as my dark horses.
Oh yeah, we all agree on the Tennessee quarterback. I'm not gonna argue with you on this one. I like that guy too. I think he's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, he showed flashes last year.
Okay.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah, Eli, we're on the same page on this one.
All time.
I think Tennessee just showed that they'll be the biggest threat to Georgia, which they probably still won't beat them, but they're going to be the only team on their schedule that probably has the highest chance to beat them or compete with them. Other than that, I mean, same old thing. Pittsburgh, they did put a little bit of respect. They forced to go overtime, and they played them close. But I like the way Hendon can push the ball downfield, and they got pretty good faith in their receivers. So I like what I seen out of Tennessee. I just don't think it'll be enough to overcome the Goliath that is Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're actually a team that can actually win 10 games this season. I think they have what it takes. I like Tennessee and I like their quarterback. So yeah, I think they're gonna have a good season.
Yeah, and then last matchup we'll kind of recap from week 2 is USC versus Stanford over a Pac-12 matchup. This was USC and Lincoln Riley's first in-conference game under the Lincoln Riley era. What was you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I watched this entire game. I went back and seen a couple of highlights. USC, Caleb Williams loving to throwing the ball down the field to Jordan Addison. So like the receiver room is it's pretty good. It's up to par. Lincoln Riley's gonna put out a great offense. I was pretty high on USC in the offseason. I think they'll have a chance to contend for a playoff spot and win the Pac-12. So I like what I've seen. The defense is always going to be a question mark with the Lincoln Riley coach team. They let Stanford back in it a little bit, but they took care of business for the most part.
Yeah, the Pac-12 is the easiest path to the playoff every single year, just because you have barely any competition besides like outside of two teams, and so I think with how USC looks, I mean Caleb Williams has yet to play a full game, and just because they just route the guys and then he ends up sitting the rest of the game. So I think until they play Utah or somebody like that, they could actually compete with USC. We're not really going to see what USC can be. That was a big old rhyme, but I think it'll be between USC and Utah, whoever makes the playoff out of those two teams. Both of those teams can't have more than one loss and make it, though, just because they're in a weak conference.
Right. I think, and this is the one thing that kind of plagued Lincoln Riley back at Oklahoma, but I think the downfall of USC is going to be their defense. If they take on a team like Utah, they're going to be, I feel like they're outmatched in that particular matchup. But offensively, they look great, though. I mean, Caleb Williams went out there, 4 touchdowns, 340 plus yards passing the ball. And then the Oregon transfer, Travis Dye, came in and gave him another 100 yards on the ground. And then the Pittsburgh transfer, Addison, had a big day too. So, those marquee transfer guys came in and they've had a huge impact on USC's team so far. But defensively, the one thing that keeps me from trusting this USC team is that defense. So, but it was a good week 2 performance from them.
Yeah, I agree with what most of you guys said. I think USC does have a chance. With the great offense that they have, yeah, the defense will probably be an issue, but with what Utah was with Florida, I'm not as confident as I was before and then winning the Pac-12. I think USC has a chance. I think it's 50-50, depending on who wins that matchup. But yeah, USC is going to be tough because it's not going to be too many teams that can score with them outside of maybe Utah, and maybe Oregon if they make a quarterback change, because Bo Nick's not going to be it. But yeah, I like USC right now, and where they're at.
Yeah, and that pretty much wraps up those matchups. Reviewing and recapping, and then we get to week 3 predictions with college football now. So first one, Oklahoma versus Nebraska. I'll go ahead and start off with this one. I got Oklahoma easy. Nebraska's been an absolute mess. They just fired Scott Frost this past week and lost themselves $17 million because they didn't wait till October to fire him. That's how bad it is down in Nebraska. So I got to take the Sooners. Nebraska is a total dumpster fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Yeah, this is Sooners. This is Sooners across the board, probably.
Jalen? Nebraska, Jalen.
He not finna do that.
He ain't gonna do it.
Where's the game at? I need to know where the game's at.
They
don't even have a coach.
It's the game at Nebraska.
I think it is.
Don't do
Give
it,
me
bro.
Nebraska.
You been for?
Oh my!
You been
Give me
serious?
Nebraska.
Man, okay.
He's trolling.
And then week 2, or not week 2, the second matchup, we got BYU, who's coming off a big win over Baylor. And they're going to be taking on Oregon, actually. This is a pretty intriguing matchup right here. So number 12, BYU, and number 25, Oregon.
I'm not picking Oregon again the rest of the season. I picked them against Georgia and made me look like an idiot. So I'm going with BYU.
I'm the same, bro. I'm right here with them. If I got to pick Bo Nix, it could be a plank of wood. I'm not picking Bo Nix. I'm going BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah, count me in. I guess, yeah, I'm on the same page as y'all.
Wait, chill out, bro. Oh, my goodness.
Same page. No, really. I mean, BYU, they look solid against Baylor. And Oregon, I don't trust Bo Nix. And BYU's coming off a big win over Baylor, and they just beat a proven Baylor team. So give me BYU.
Give me Oregon. I'm not going with all y'all. Give me Oregon.
Why are you doing this, bro?
Give me Oregon. Not so fast, my friend. Give me Oregon. BYU not winning. Cougar Nation not winning 2 games in a row. All right, not 2 big games in a row. I got Oregon is at their house.
I'm going with Oregon too. I'm switching. I'm going with Oregon. I'm going with Oregon.
All right, and then this third matchup. This is a rematch of last year. A little home and home series right here. Penn State going at Auburn this year.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going Penn. Ooh, that's Jordan Hare though.
Yeah, it's Jordan Hare.
Yeah, give me Sean Clifford. I got Penn State. I got confidence.
Clifford.
The big red dog.
Sure. Yeah, I love the big dog Clifford, man.
Oh man.
He went into a hostile environment against Purdue. That's a place where a ton of really good teams go play on the road and lose. And he led, he led that offense despite their defense not playing good. I just don't trust Auburn. I don't trust TJ Finley. I don't trust anything about that offense. They had problems against San Jose State this past week. It took them a whole 4 quarters to close that deal against an FCS team. So give me Penn State. I like the weapons more with Penn State than I do Auburn, even though it's in a hostile environment.
Yeah, I'm rocking with Big Dog Clifford too. I mean, Auburn's quarterback room is dysfunctional at best. So I mean, you got fans begging for a new starter every week. Like they had Finley starting week 1. People were asking for Robbie Ashford. Then they started Robbie Ashford. Now people were asking for Calzada. And like Eli said, they had problems with the Spartans, San Jose State. I mean, come on now. I'm rocking with Penn State.
This one's not as easy as it is for y'all as it is for me. Anytime you go to the SEC hostile environment, and I know you talk about these sorry teams, but you got to know that an Auburn team, their mentality is not to get up for that game, right? It's just another day. But they're going to be up for this one. I don't know if I can pick them, though. I have no confidence in Auburn. I'm only just thinking about it just because it is in Jordan Hare, and Georgia Hare is such a hard place to win. But I think I'm gonna go with Auburn. I can't pick them. I'm going with Penn State. I'm going with Sean Clifford. Even though it's on the road.
Clifford.
I think I'm gonna rock with him. This was just it's just nasty because Auburn stinks. And what's crazy is, as an Alabama fan, I like it when Auburn's good, even though this sounds ridiculous. Because I think college football is better when Auburn is good and competing. I know that's crazy because we're diametrically opposed to them, but I got to go with Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you have to think that seat's getting a little hot for Brian Harsin down there in the Plains because, I mean, struggling against San Jose State when you're already staring down when you're already staring down a 5-loss season between Bama, Georgia, probably Ole Miss with how Auburn's looked so far. Arkansas for sure. And so that's 4. And then you could throw in Texas A&M or LSU for a 5th or 6th win possibly, and then this Penn State game. I mean, Auburn's staring down an easy chance at having a 5 to 6 loss season. And with Brian Harsin, I don't know. I think the seat's already getting hot for him, in my opinion, just because of how they looked the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and don't forget Mississippi State too. They Auburn blew a 25-point lead against Coach Leach and Mississippi State. Will Rogers went there, and Auburn was at home, and even Mississippi State came in and put the works on Auburn and came back from a huge deficit. What about you, JP?
I'm gonna go Penn State too. It's too much going on with the quarterback going with Auburn for me to pick Auburn. I'm gonna go Penn State.
Yeah. And I will say from personal experience, like Jordan Hare is a different animal, like when you're there in person. So I think Auburn's going to be motivated. I don't think this is going to be a blowout win for Penn State. I think Auburn comes and they're going to be more motivated for a high marquee matchup. But yeah, I got Penn State. And then next up, Colorado versus Minnesota.
Ooh.
I don't know. Go ahead, Eli.
Oh, I was just going to say I got Minnesota in this matchup.
Yeah, the pick'ems are pretty. The pick'ems on ESPN Fantasy is pretty heavily in favor of Minnesota. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I know anything about both these teams.
I don't
know nothing about these guys.
Yeah, I mean these 2 teams. I mean, come on now, they're like more so basketball schools than anything. So I mean, I don't know. I'm rocking with Minnesota in this game.
I'm picking Minnesota too.
Yeah, I got Minnesota. I mean, yeah, I got to go with
Minnesota.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was just about to say it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Cold like Minnesota.
That's the only time I hear about Minnesota is if he got something to do with Billy Cold. So that's and y'all making fun of my Oklahoma pick, But think about the history of Oklahoma. When they lose a game, it's always to a bad team like Iowa State, Kansas State. I'm telling you, don't be shocked if Nebraska beats them. Just saying.
We'll have to see about that. And Troy versus App State. I'm taking App State in this one.
Versus who?
Versus Troy. So I got App State in that one. They nearly knocked off UNC, and then we just saw them knock off of Texas A&M. So I think, from the way they're playing, I don't see a team like Troy being able to keep up with them.
Wouldn't that be the most college football thing ever, though, for a team to almost beat North Carolina, then knock off Texas A&M, then turn around the next week and lose to Troy? Like, wouldn't that just be the most? Wouldn't that just be the most college football thing ever?
It would be.
I mean, I feel like. I don't know. No, I'm not picking Troy. I'm just saying I just could see it happening just because of college football being so crazy. But I mean, App State's looked really good for being App State. I mean, knocking off Texas A&M. I love seeing the Aggies lose, so I got to pick App State now.
I'm picking Troy. I know a cute girl that goes to Troy. I'm going with Troy. Shout out to Troy.
You're not going to name drop though.
Absolutely not.
Eli, what's the percentages on this game? I gotta see what's the percent. Who's the favorite?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but
it's probably App State.
Game day. I know that game day was planning on going to Miami versus Texas A&M this week, but after App State knocked off Texas A&M, I think College Game Day is actually.
Oh yeah, they are going to this game.
But that's 1.5 million.
Give me Troy.
Yeah, let's work out.
Troy gonna pull off the upset, man.
Yeah.
Troy.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that. I know it's crazy though. App State stole $1.5 million from A&M, beat them, and College Game Day from them. So Texas A&M taking L's left and right from App State. And then this next one we got Mississippi State against LSU.
I don't know. LSU looks really dysfunctional chemistry wise. So I mean, I'm probably going to take Mississippi State in this matchup.
Yeah, give me Mississippi State too. Will Rogers, Coach Leach, one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the country. I think they're going to be dotting up LSU left and right. So I got Mississippi State dropping a lot of points in this game.
Is it in Death Valley?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's at LSU.
Ooh, I'm picking Mississippi State. I'm rocking with Mississippi State. Mike Leach. Air raid. They're going to get it done.
Give me LSU.
Yeah, that's
I'm take LSU.
Bro, love going against the rain.
Home field advantage.
Yeah, and then Texas Tech. This is a good one. Texas Tech coming off a win over Houston, taking on NC State. My ACC pick, the Wolfpack. I'm looking forward to this. I'm taking.
So I'm guessing.
My pick. I'm taking the Wolfpack. I got to have confidence in them. Got to have confidence in my pick. So, and they got this game at home too. So, give me NC State.
NC State's frauds. Give me Texas Tech.
Agree.
Facts. Give me Tech.
Give me Tech.
Give me Tech. State was so ACC this year.
That's funny. And then Michigan State against Washington. Number 11 Michigan State versus Washington.
Man, I feel like we're picking a March Madness bracket more than a college football. Come on now.
Give me Tech. Nah, that's hard. I'm about to start using that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't freaking know, man. I don't know anything about these two teams. Give me Michigan State.
Yeah, I'll take Michigan State too.
I gotta go with Michigan State just because. Yeah,
I'll go Michigan State.
The only name that I know out of those two teams is Mel Tucker and Michigan State's coach. So give me Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State.
But Spartan Country, let's ride.
Yeah, we're going Spartan Country all the way.
Yeah, and then the last two matchups, UCF versus Florida Atlantic, and then number 13 Miami versus number 24 Texas A&M.
So we got another March Madness matchup between Florida Atlantic and what's the other school you said?
UCF.
UCF. All right, yeah. Give me UCF just because I know Gus Malzahn is. So, and then what's the last matchup? You said Miami and who?
Yeah, number 13 Miami and number 24 Texas A&M.
Yeah, I got Miami in this game. Miami looked good last week, and I hate Texas A&M, and I hate Jimbo Fisher. So
A&M even still
give me
right?
Miami.
You lose to Appalachian State, you still keep a ranking? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Somebody A&M must not only be paying the players, but they must be paying somebody whoever do the rankings. I mean, my goodness, you lose to Appalachian State and you still rank. Unbelievable. Yeah, I got Miami winning that game.
Are you talking about Texas A&M's performance last week?
Yeah, and they ranked 24. That they shouldn't be ranked at all.
Yeah, I got Miami too. A&M shambles. And then UCF.
Yeah, I got UCF. And I'm riding the Gus Bus on that one too.
And then Jalen, who do you have for Miami and Texas? A&M?
I got Miami. I got Miami winning that one.
Yeah, I'll take UCF. Florida Atlantic hasn't played anybody. They don't play anybody the whole year, so give me UCF in that. And
it's a lot of bad teams.
I could, bro. If someone had a gun to my head and say name one player from these teams, I'd fold. I don't know.
I'm dead. Just pronounce it.
I'm dead. Go ahead.
But and then Texas A&M and Miami. I'll be the only one to pick Texas A&M. I think they bounce back. Miami hasn't played nobody this year, and I think they get overhyped a lot. So give me Texas A&M in that one. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. That was a lot to cover, a lot to get down to. So we got a lot of football still ahead of us, and we appreciate all you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the Rundown Podcast. Make sure to come back, tune in for some more fire content. As always, we love you guys.
Y'all know I love y'all. Stay up, stay blessed. Shout out to them boys, Big Blue.